Hi and welcome to Help Your Kids podcast. My name is Dr. Mish and I'm a psychotherapist, a coach, and I'm also a lecturer in child and adolescent mental health at university, which is lots of fun. And my background is mental health, really. I've always been interested in how people are, and people have always fascinated me. So yeah, that's me. And this podcast is all about how you can help your kids, and my co-host and I do it from a position of being parents, but we're also therapists.
Yeah, so I'm Shelley Smith. I'm also a psychotherapist and supervisor and also visiting lecturer. And similar to Mish, my background is in mental health and wellbeing. Before I became a therapist, I just really enjoyed supporting people within education. So children, teenagers, adults, and 2018 I founded Sunrise Wellbeing, which is our hub of support for people of all different ages in Leicester. And it's just great to now develop our support services for parents and to have this Help Your Kids podcast, which we're really proud of.
Yep. So hi!
Hi, we're back!
We're back. Can you believe we're back?
I know, it's so exciting.
I'm really, really chuffed we've been able to do this, do a few more.
I'm so pleased.
So we want to give a shout out to the sponsors for these next 4 episodes.
Yeah, so we're delighted to have some sponsorship through some funding. So our funding is the Spoonful of Sugar Fund.
That's such a lovely name.
It's such a lovely name, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
The money was donated to us with some inheritance in memory of somebody's parents who were called Jane and Michael.
Lovely.
So the first thing that we thought about was Mary Poppins with Jane and Michael. So we got together and we decided to call it the Spoonful of Sugar Fund. And that funding is enabling us to do things like this, to support parents, to run workshops, generally share our knowledge so that people don't feel as alone.
That's so good.
Yeah, really good. So we're really
so
thankful.
Generous as well. So we're really, really grateful.
Yeah.
Because it enables us to do more of
Yeah.
this and like all the other things that you said that the money will be
Absolutely.
used for. So it's not just one-off things, things like
definitely.
this that are out there for all time.
Forever.
So a bit of a legacy there. So thanks.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But today, so this is our first episode back in our second season.
Yeah,
And we've got
season
4
2.
episodes coming up.
Yeah.
The first one today is about supporting your neurodivergent child. So
Which is something we're really passionate again about sharing knowledge around, not just as therapists but as parents as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really tricky thing that is around a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think as a parent that we all struggle with is how do we understand how to support our child who's neurodiverse, but also how do we know when behaviour sits in under that or when it doesn't?
Yeah.
And how do you navigate all of
It is a
that
lot to
stuff?
navigate, because then you're also trying to work out what's yours, what's theirs, what's connected to what the triggers are, what they need, what you need.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to navigate.
Yeah, there's
isn't there?
loads. So the idea really is that we want you to kind of understand a little bit more, reduce friction around it, and throw in a couple of skills, hopefully. So talk to me about neurodiversity and what it might mean for children and young people, and where do we start with all of that?
Well, I think it's one of those words, isn't it? Neurodiversity, neurodivergent. It's one of those words that we hear a lot, and I think it's connected to so many different things.
Yeah.
And people's understanding of that is going to be different. And sometimes that can be scary, can't it? If you're thinking, your child might be struggling with certain things, they might be on a pathway to having assessments, they might not be. You might just recognise that there's traits or behaviours, and like you said, we're trying to work it out. But I think with understanding neurodiversity, we always think about understanding the human being and the individual.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily trying to label or put put those things into boxes. So one of the things I always try and encourage people to do is recognise people's strengths. So think about what's your superpower, what you're really good at. Because when you are struggling with things, it can feel like you're not good at much.
Yes.
It can feel like you can compare yourself, can't you, to peers and
course.
friends. So I think looking at somebody's strengths is one of the most positive things. Because often with neurodiversity, we have a lot of superpowers. So there's lots of things that, you know, people will be really, really good at. Yeah. That, you know, is like an inner strength. But then recognising some of the challenges and some of the barriers and trying to dig a bit deeper to understand why that they're difficult. Whether they're social things or sensory-based. Yeah, or processing. It could be things around functioning, routine, getting out the house,
yeah,
sleep.
The functioning thing's really tricky, isn't it? And
absolutely.
Certainly for parents who have a child who can function in one way but not in another. Like they can be really focused and capable, for example, at getting schoolwork done. Yeah. But their ability to tidy up after themselves is shocking.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like it can feel really inconsistent sometimes.
Yeah. And then as a parent, you can be left thinking, well, what is going on? Yeah. Because what is this connected to? Yeah. You know, how can you possibly do those types of things, but you can't, like you say, tidy your room, or you can't remember what I've just asked you to do. Or you've said you're going to do something in 5 minutes and it's now 20 minutes later and you've forgotten. So it can make, you know, it can be really confusing and not make sense. And I think that's why it's trying to understand the individual.
Yeah, and working with them.
Definitely.
And for me, I'm a bit curious around the whole rise of diagnosis, particularly around neurodiversity. I always find the word neurodiversity to say really hard.
It is a bit of a tongue twister.
It really is. That's why when I'm pausing, I'm like, I'm working it out in my head. So I think there has been, I mean, I don't know about you, but so my kids are older kids now, but I've certainly seen a increase in children that are getting diagnosed or wanting a diagnosis, or parents wanting a diagnosis. And I suppose I'm a bit curious as to like why that is, what that gives people or doesn't. You know, there are great things about having a diagnosis as well as a lot of limitations.
Yeah, and it can be a bit of a mixed bag, can't it, of pros and cons. And I would agree, it definitely has increased, you know, even the language around ADHD, autism, sensory processing. Yeah. There's a lot more awareness, and I think we do see challenges more, we do see behaviours more. And sometimes people may think, well, have they not always been there? Why are we noticing them now? I think with any awareness, we've got more of a lens of looking for things. We've got more tools to kind of understand behaviours a bit deeper, rather than maybe just accepting what we see on the surface. We're hopefully encouraging people to think, well, why is that? Why can't they do that? Why is that a struggle? Yeah. So I think that then brings about more awareness of the individual and what they're struggling with. But I think when we're working with families, it's understanding if they do recognise these challenges or those traits, it's kind of understanding what the purpose would be to get a diagnosis. Yeah. So asking that question of a family or a young person or a child and thinking, why is that important? And, you know, often people might say, well, I really want to understand my brain. I really want to understand how my brain works. Because if you've got a neurotypical brain, so we said about neurodiversity, but if you've got a neurotypical brain, research shows us that you're going to think very differently, and you're going to have parts of your brain that function in very different ways to somebody who is neurodivergent. So again, it's just understanding, well, if you struggle with those triggers of sensory overwhelm, what is that connected to? Yeah. Is that to do with that part of the brain that's been triggered or can't process those things or can't regulate those emotions? Or is that connected with something else?
It's really hard, isn't it, to know where the crossover is. Yeah. And I think particularly parents find it really difficult to navigate that. Like, is it worth my child having a diagnosis? What will it give them? Or that some parents will be really worried that it means that they're going to be stigmatised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the promise of help that may not appear.
Yeah, because we know a diagnosis doesn't naturally mean that you're going to have lots of support.
Yeah, it doesn't mean suddenly all these doors open.
No,
I think realistically, it can for parents, it can still feel like you're on your own.
It can, and I think that's something we find a lot with parents who are going through, even just having conversations with school or other family members around those difficulties, because there can often be this sense of shame, judgment, and we always say, we don't want anyone to blame themselves or judge themselves. We're all trying our best, aren't we? Which is one of the messages we always say. But it is trying to recognise it is a bit like being a detective, isn't it? You're trying to, and to do that, you've got to take a step out of the chaos.
Yes.
And look at the dynamic, because often, neurodivergent children may have neurodivergent parents, whether they're diagnosed or not. They might have traits of that. And that can become very heightened very quickly when everyone's emotions are in the mix.
Yeah. It's really funny, isn't it? When sometimes young people go, they recognise something in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll point it out and go, this is you. Like my child has said to me, this is you, Mum. And I'm like, I kind of know, but it's fine. Yeah, exactly. I've learned to deal with things and find my own way through it. But I really understand one of the things I really like about things that children and young people are more able to have those conversations around it.
Yeah.
So in some way, I think for a young person, it might reduce the stigma.
Definitely.
Of them feeling different, or they quotation marks, can't cope. But parents, I think it's one of the things that I think is difficult is when they can see behaviour that isn't shown elsewhere. So in school, they might be told, oh yes, your child is this, they're doing this, they're very capable, and the moment they get home, they just lose it because they've been masking all day.
Absolutely.
And it's totally exhausting for them.
It is exhausting. And if you think about having to mask and keep that mask on in all of those situations where, typically at secondary school, you're going from one environment to the next every 50 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And then you've got unpredictable times like break time, lunch time, before school, after school. And that can tip people out of their window. That can tip people out of that safe sense of safety.
Yeah.
And if you feel that you want to do well, you want to do the right thing, you want to follow the rules, you have to keep that mask on.
Yeah.
So often what we find is there's more of a heightened emotional response, there's more of a meltdown, there's more of this kind of dysregulation. And in a way, it's because they've come to their safe space often, so they've come home with their safe people, they can take the mask off. But as a parent, excuse me, as a parent, that can be really difficult because you're almost thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
What has happened?
Yeah. And then you can feel really guilty about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you go, well, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That means that this behaviour is being shown at home.
Yeah, and then if you're not in that place when they walk through the door that you can have conversations or you can support them, you might still be working, you might have to go somewhere, your anxiety is going to be bigger as well.
Yeah, yeah. And also another thing that can be sometimes tricky for a parent to help the family navigate is if there are siblings that are neurotypical and they see you behaving or reacting to behaviour in one way with one child and one way with another, that's really tricky.
That's
really tricky. So there's something around this whole thing for me to say to parents, have the conversations at a calm time with the family that explains what that may look like, how that behaviour might be coming out, what you might need to do as a parent from a very practical sense.
I think so. It's trying to having that kind of team approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
We talk about having that holistic approach and trying to come together, even though you might be the parent and you feel this responsibility, you're trying to navigate it probably for the first time in itself anyway. So you're not the expert, so you're trying to understand it. So I think it is about the communication. It is trying to say, actually, I didn't handle that well, or I got that wrong, or what do you need?
Yes.
Or how did that impact you when that was happening? And just trying to work together.
Yeah.
But that sibling rivalry naturally that comes in.
Yeah.
And then you think about teenage brain and how that is an added layer of maybe more impulsivity or risk-taking behaviours. So
yeah,
it can
it's a bit
feel
of a minefield,
complex.
isn't it? It's so tricky.
It is tricky.
It's so tricky. And also a kind of shout out to those parents that are having to deal with the extra layer of admin that comes if you're trying to get a referral, or you've had a referral, or you've got a report, like an EHCP, or you're having to deal with the SEN lead at the school, and you've got this another appointment to go to, and you've got this meds to do. You've got,
It's a massive job.
Yeah. So if you're trying, and also if you're trying to work, the parent trying to work, trying to be there for the rest of the family, and you've got this whole extra bit of admin, and that's not to say that you need to feel bad about that, or particularly for your child to feel guilty about that. It's not about. It's just recognising there's extra stuff that come with this that isn't just about the individual who has that. It's the wider circle.
Yeah, and it's not easy to navigate those things, is it? Because often people feel like they might have a bit of a battle on their hands, or they don't have access to the information or the support that they need at that time. So often, parents can feel a bit disheartened and alone. So I think it is just normalising that is a big process, and it can feel very heavy. And that's why I think parents supporting parents can be really good. Because people might know of a support group, or they might know of somebody who can support you with the forms and the questions. And I think it's just knowing that you're not on your own.
Yeah, and knowing where to find that as well.
Yeah.
So as parents asking, does anyone know of somewhere where I can connect with other parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always really useful. So in your experience, I mean, I know this goes out everywhere. So we might be talking about things that are local to
all over,
to Leicestershire, global. Or to we're global, baby, to Leicestershire and or the UK. So there's things like Young Minds is a really good place.
Young Minds is great. They have a parent support line, so you can call them. They have lots of resources. Here in Leicestershire, we have a charity called Heads Up. They do a lot of parent support. But even on the NHS websites, Health for Kids, Health for Teens, they have a lot of videos. They have a lot of resources. So, it's just sometimes it's that reading something and thinking, oh, it's not just me. Oh, that's been difficult for me as well. Maybe I could try that.
Yeah.
And just, again, it's having time, isn't it, to practice those strategies. But I think one of the most important things is just to be kind to yourself and just to try and take a breath. Yeah. And just to try. It's easier said than done.
It is easier
to just breathe. And sometimes, like you were saying, like your children might recognise traits in you, and they're saying, you might be telling them to stop shouting and you're shouting, or you might be telling them to calm down and you're not actually calm.
Yeah.
So it is just saying, actually,
Yeah. So what do I need?
Yeah, what do I need?
But what we know, and this is kind of across the board, is that your connection with that child is key.
Yeah.
And if you can have conversations about strategies and what might be helpful and what's definitely not helpful at a time when they're calm.
Yeah.
When they're regulated, they're calm, sit alongside them, have the conversations. That's going to help both of you.
It will do. And it's understanding that, if you think about how the brain works, when somebody is dysregulated, their thinking part of the brain has gone off. They are purely responding in survival mode, fight, flight, freeze. You are probably doing the same. But it's often then where we're going with the talking. Yes. You can't do this. This is not acceptable. Or why is this happening?
Yeah.
And actually nobody can think. So sometimes in that moment it's just trying to give yourself permission just to hold the space, just to try and create that kind of port in the storm, isn't it? And try and remain as calm as you can so that naturally when everything comes back on, they can feel a bit of sense of calm, you can feel more regulated, and then you can have those conversations. And sometimes that might not even be in that present moment. That might be a few hours later. It might even be tomorrow.
I think it's often later.
I think so.
That those useful conversations can come. But I think as a parent, it's okay to need to find out about these the differences in neurodiversity.
Yeah.
You know, it's neurodiversity it's called that
Yeah.
for a reason.
Exactly.
So it's okay to think, I don't know enough about this. I need to get some more knowledge, and
Yeah.
because you've not really learnt any of this
No.
yet. You've not learnt how to deal with it, and what your strategies might be, and how do I balance giving in, for want of a better word, and keeping a really strict boundary. When is that appropriate? When is it not?
Definitely. I think
So
that's
tricky.
a big thing, because you want to try and remain with your boundary and within those rules of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But also it's trying to adapt to the individual need, isn't it? And pick your battles. I think
always.
Sometimes it's that sense of urgency, isn't it? To sort it out now. We can't possibly be in this situation. We're going to be late. You know, whatever's happening. But it's almost like, right, do I just need to try and settle my nervous system so that I'm not putting all that pressure on myself to do it now?
Yes.
So that it doesn't become a bigger battle than what it needs to be.
Like, what are the basics? Some of the best advice I got just generally in parenting was just to, you know, be good enough.
Yeah.
Get some of the basics right. And I think particularly if your child is neurodivergent and you need to be adaptable. And that can be really tricky if you want to be consistent, because one of the things that we talk about is consistency in other areas. And it might be that you need to be a bit more flexible. Yeah, and that's really hard. Tricky.
It can be if you're talking about adapting to need adding extra things in. You might need to have more routines. You might need to give pre-warning.
Yes.
And if you're already struggling with time, you know, that's added pressure, isn't it? So again, it's giving yourself permission to go, actually, this is what we need to do at the moment.
Yeah.
And you know, often these things with those strategies and support, they will get easier. We know sometimes things feel like they're sorted and another problem comes your way. But it is just giving it a go.
Yeah, it is giving it a go. And I really like the idea, particularly for some, I mean, you know your child, and your child knows themselves as well. So some things that I know that can be really useful is the framework of how days look, where you'll be going at certain points, which teacher is going to do that, which teacher is going to do this, where it, like the mapping out of the day, the route, the things like that. They could be really useful, but they might not work for every child. So this is one of the things that I think is really tricky for us to provide. Just do this one thing, this one thing, and this one thing, because there's so much that you might need to tweak. But I suppose it's just that, know that you're not alone, and if you need to reach out to a help group or a
or professional, or and or even look online, you know, at different resources and tools just to give that a go. But I think it is just recognising the needs, because often families might say to us as professionals, but what should I do? What do they? And it's kind of going, well, have you asked them? Have you had that conversation? If after school's tricky, or if bedtime's tricky, what do they need? And they might not know yet, but if you start to have that conversation, you can try and understand that together a bit more.
And we can try this, and it's about that adaptability of, just because you try one thing doesn't mean that's the thing you've got to then do for forever. You can, so
and I think just another quick message is that your child doesn't need to be fixed.
Yes,
because sometimes it feels like you've got to fix them.
You've got to fix them or fix their behaviour. So if you have got a neurodivergent child, just be kind to yourself, of course. Remember to be good enough and seek help, seek support. You're not by yourself.
You're not on your own.
All right. I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you for being here with us today. Hope it's been useful.
It's great to have these topics and talk about things.
And as always, just get in touch with us. You know where to find us. And thanks again to our sponsors.
Yes, thank you to our Spoonful of Sugar Fund.
Thank you so much. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
All right, time for a brew.
See you soon.
See ya.